Is it snowing yet?
Just a tiny bit. Slow enough you can name the flakes.
Hey, y'all.
Hey, Sarah. I have been on this thing all day long and my eyes are blurry, but you all still look good. Okay.
Oh, Terry, I'm so glad you think I look good.
You're in the dark, Dennis.
How do I
always
learn that?
look- Oh, there you are. Do we have Peaches and Foxy in attendance?
I am always in the dark. No, they went home and had dinner and they were here most of the afternoon and they were decided they were tired and wanted to stay home. They went to the spa today. Sarah, don't look so surprised.
I want to go to the spa. Come on.
Had their nails done.
Oh my gosh. Did they get little kerchiefs?
They do. They have little Irish bandanas today.
Uh-huh.
So they had their Irish on when they came back out.
Mm-mm. I know they were prissy.
Sarah, once you get underway, I'm going to ask you guys to add an item to the agenda.
Okay.
Kimberly, you're early.
Well, that should make up for the fact that I have to leave early.
Oh,
Sorry, guys, I have a school board meeting, an emergency board meeting tonight at 6:30 that I am expected to attend. So I'll be hopping out at 6:30.
You are just a busy lady.
yeah.
It's stupid.
All right. Well, in that case, since the board appears to be here, we will get going. Calling the meeting to order at 6 p.m. First, Dennis, you mentioned you wanted to add something to the agenda.
Yep, I'm going to ask you guys to please suspend your rules to add an item to our agenda. And I will be asking you to rescind your vote for the approval of the harbor fees from February 1st. Unfortunately, I did not advise you guys properly on the procedure to move forward with that. So we need to back up and revisit that. So if you want to put that under other board business when we get to it, that would be fine.
Okay. All right. Moving on. Approval of treasurer's warrants, payroll warrants for February 18th, 2022 and February 25th, 2022. Open for a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Pam, second by Terry. Any questions, discussion? Seeing none, calling for a vote. Pam,
Yes.
Dusty,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
and I vote yes. Motion passes 5-0. Accounts payable warrants for February 22nd, 2022 and March 1st, 2022. Open for a motion.
Move to approve?
Second.
Moved by Pam, second by Terry. Any questions, discussion? Seeing none. Calling for a vote. Pam,
Yes.
Dusty,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion passes 5-0. Down to number 2, approval of the minutes, February 15th, 2022. Open for a motion.
Move to approve.
Second,
Dennis?
I have a correction.
Okay,
On the item 10 of the town manager's report, the stream crossing grant amount is not $235,000, it's $125,000.
okay. Any other corrections, questions, discussion? Pam?
one other correction is that it was not I that made the comment about lapel mics under number 11. Here it says that I recommended the microphones at the community center be moved away from the speakers. That was correct. I believe it was Dennis that mentioned that lapel mics were being discussed.
I think that's right.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think it's a huge thing, but it is the correct thing. Thank you, Jackie. They're great minutes. Thank you.
Anything else? Okay. So calling for a vote on approving the minutes with the 2 corrections. Pam,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Bessie,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
I vote yes, motion passes 5-0. We do not have any special presentations or awards, committee appointments, or public hearings. So going down to number 6, public comment on non-agenda items. If you have a public comment, if you'd be willing to raise your hand. Okay, I see Susan. Go ahead.
Just wondered what is happening about the facade of the building down on Main Street? What is happening with the bricks being repaired? If anything, and if not, why isn't anything being done?
Dennis, would you mind taking that one? We did have an update in the town manager's report. I think it was the last time or the time before, but we didn't really talk about it.
Sure. Ralph has his engineers working on what they need to do to repair the building. It's not moving at the speed that I think it should be moving at, and obviously at the speed others think it should be moving at. And I did have a conversation with the town attorney last Thursday as to what our options are and what we should do. And I believe the board will be having a probably executive session in their next meeting to discuss that.
Their next meeting is again another 2 weeks away. They discuss da-da-da-da. I say again, when is something going to happen? Somebody's feet should be held to the fire on this. It's a year now. And I know you can't mortar the bricks in. But,
I
If
would
only.
if I could.
Yeah,
Nope, as I said, Susan, it's not moving at the pace that I feel it should be. So we're going to present the board with options, and things take time. If they want to meet, if they want to meet in a special session to do this, I'm more than happy to do so.
But
Okay,
I think-
thank you. As long
I
as
think-
something's being done. This is a hazard and
I appreciate your frustration. I truly do.
and I think we all do as well, so.
Right.
thank you.
Yeah. Thank you,
Any,
Susan.
any other public comment on non-agenda items? Going once. Going twice. Okay, not seeing or hearing any. We will move on. I don't have anything under department head or committee chair or unfinished business. So moving down to new business, donation for an automatic external defibrillator for the Wiscasset Community Center. Open for a motion, and if actually the next 2, whoever makes the motion, if you could please read out the full motion.
I move to accept the donation of $995 from the Wiscasset School Department for the purchase of an automated external defibrillator for the Wiscasset Community Center.
Second.
Motion by Pam, seconded by Terry. Any questions or discussion? Okay,
Thank you for the school department.
Yeah, I don't know how that came about, but thank you to the school department.
yeah. All right, calling for a vote. Pam,
Yes,
Dusty,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you again. Moving down to new business license application for Hillary Cromwell doing business as the Cultivated Thread located at 227 Old Sheepscot Road. Open for motion.
I move to approve the,
Oh, go ahead, Terry.
I move to approve the business license application for Hillary Crowell, DBA The Cultivated Thread, located at 227 Old Sheepscot Road.
Second,
Thank you. Moved by Terry, seconded by Pam. Any questions or discussion on the application? Seeing none, calling for a vote. Pam,
yes.
Dusty,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion passes 5-0. Moving down to 9C, future meeting location discussion. Dennis, did you want to get an update? You had mentioned to me that the 15th needs to be via Zoom because of a public hearing we needed to notice. Is that correct?
Yep, we had to send out the notice yesterday, and the notice has to include the time and the place. And so there wasn't time for us to make that decision tonight and get the notice in the paper as it needed to be. So I had to make that decision for you for one more meeting. After that, it's up to you guys what you want to do.
I mean, I'm personally hopeful that as we get further into the week in the next few days, we actually might be in the low or medium range because we're coming off of all those extra cases that they said were backlogged. So we were still up in red. So I would be fine going back to the town meeting office. I know we had talked about purchasing CV Screen and the Meeting Owl. So just open for discussion from the board of how you feel about going back to in-person after the 15th. Pam?
I have no problem with the meeting. I'm kind of over it. Like really over it.
Terry?
I really like the idea of this meeting owl that swivels around to see individual people in using it in a hybrid meeting so that we can still have additional members of the town attend. I don't know how many extra folks we might have, but in looking at tonight's crowd, maybe not that many, but I still like the idea that people can attend in a hybrid meeting. That's my only comment.
Agreed. Any other comments? And I think if we are going to do that, Dennis, do we need to vote to approve you to go ahead and purchase that equipment or?
Yeah, because I'd like to take them out of the ARPA funds.
You
So-
ready for a motion?
Yeah, I was gonna say, do we just say so move? Does everybody understand? Go ahead,
So
Pam.
I move that the board designate, no, not designate, I'm sorry, I lost my word. I move that the board, that the board allow Dennis the town manager to use ARPA funds to purchase the equipment needed for the hybrid meetings of the board.
Second.
There we
Well
go.
done.
Moved by Pam and seconded by Terry. Further discussion or questions before we vote? Okay. Calling for a vote then. Pam?
Yes, and the word was authorized.
Yeah, there you go.
Finally popped in my head. Sorry, brain cramp.
All right. Dusty?
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Kim,
I have to abstain. Because I stepped away. I missed it. Sorry.
oh, okay. Just for your own information, it was to authorize Dennis to purchase the equipment needed for hybrid meetings.
Oh, okay. I would have approved that, but I'm sorry. I'm still at work, you guys.
It's okay. And I vote yes, so 4-0-1, the motion passes. So we'll, barring some huge spike, we'll plan to meet in person, I guess. Let's see, what would that next date be?
April 1st.
Okay. That is not an
Perfect.
April Fool's joke.
Just
There are-
perfect.
There are 5 Tuesdays this month, so you'll have a 2-week period that you don't meet, so
Oh,
So you can play with the equipment, make sure it works.
that's right.
Awesome.
all right. Now down to 9D correspondence. We had an email from Terry Shelby of 25 Harrison Lane with a Wiscasset Speedway noise concern. Anyone not see that or have anything they'd like to say? Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. Moving down to 9E, Alna ambulance contract. Dennis went over this in his town manager report. Anything you want to add, Dennis?
No, unless somebody has any questions.
Any questions?
We used to do Alma's ambulance service some years ago, until they got into a situation where we weren't staffed and we weren't able to handle it. But that situation is a lot different now than it used to be with our 24/7 staffing. So
And
And-
our fly car.
in our fly car, and I have, and I think it's also, I want to see us building better relationships with some of the communities around us. Alna already uses our transfer station. They use our communities. They're a community partner in our community center. And I'd like for us to be able to work better with some of our surrounding communities for the betterment of everybody. And, we're talking about wanting Dresden to bring their students here. So let's just try to work together.
I like that.
So open for a motion, if someone would like to do so.
I move to approve Dennis, is this a contract?
It will be, and I'm not asking you to actually approve the actual contract tonight, just the concept that you will allow us to do this. And the reason I'm bringing this up now, I think I put it in my report, was that their town meeting is in March. And if we're not
Right.
going to, if the select board doesn't agree to this, I have to let them know so they can go back to CLC and say, yeah, we have to stick with you.
I move that we ask our town manager to move forward with arrangements with Alna to provide them with EMS service.
Second,
Great. Any further discussion or questions? Okay, calling for a vote. Pam,
yes.
Dusty,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you. Moving down to 9F, Police Department wages. We also have a fair amount in our packet about this in addition to Dennis's town manager report. Anything you want to add, Dennis, or?
Did everybody get the letter from Jonathan Barnes that I sent? Because nobody else, it wasn't part of the packet, Sarah, it might be prudent to read that so that the public,
The email from today?
yes.
Hang on. Okay. All right. Bear with me for a second here. So this is from Jonathan Barnes of the Wiscasset Police Department. On behalf of the Wiscasset Police Association, I wanted to convey our sincerest appreciation for the support we have received from the town manager as well as from the select board. The recent funds made available to town employees, to include the police department, showed we are appreciated and valued. We see the support we have and cannot say thank you enough. The work and research the town manager has put in to try to take care of our employees does not go without notice. For a little over 3 years, we have worked to build a great working relationship both with the town officials and the town citizens. Under the leadership of Chief Hasseltine, we have accomplished great things. We saw record numbers for calls of service and arrests last year and led all municipalities by staggering amounts. Despite facing difficulties from COVID, members of the police department pushed through and persevered. We have shown up day in and day out to ensure Wiscasset remains the prettiest little village. The work we do behind the scenes accomplishes that. The support we receive from all of you allows us to continue in our success. Recently, law enforcement around the country, as well as in our state, have taken a hit. We have been portrayed in a negative light and taken criticism from every side. I can proudly say we have done everything in our power to remain a community policing focused department. There have been record numbers of officers retiring or simply leaving the field altogether. Maine law enforcement is facing crippling numbers if something doesn't drastically change. Routinely, the Wiscasset Police Department has been and remains the lowest paid agency in Lincoln County and in the surrounding area. The current employees have always been willing to take less money than we could make elsewhere because we believe in the mission we are accomplishing here. Chief has always been a family first leader. He understands the toll his career takes on law enforcement and their families. Having that in a leader is invaluable and has made the money to date a non-issue. That being said, several agencies in Lincoln County have given their police departments significant raises to ensure longevity of their employees. For example, if an officer from Wiscasset transferred to Waldoboro, they would make over $16,000 more annually. Having a pay scale like that takes tremendous amounts of stress off the officer and their family. It begins to outweigh all the positive reasons we choose to work in Wiscasset. We are not asking for an astronomical amount like is being seen elsewhere. We are simply asking for enough to keep us relevant. Retaining and attracting future quality officers is paramount to our success here. We continue to believe in the job we are doing here. We are willing to remain with a lower pay than other agencies because we feel the support we have from the town officials, citizens, and our chief outweighs the benefits of leaving. Receiving the proposed pay increase just solidifies in our minds we are making the correct choice in staying employed with the town of Wiscasset. Your continued support and appreciation for what we do is greatly appreciated. Thank you, Jonathan Barnes. Sorry, I need some water. All right. And that was just sent a few hours ago. So, all right. Anything else you want to say, Dennis? I mean,
No, I think between what I said and what he said, it laid out the case pretty well. It's unfortunate that we find ourselves in this position. I don't know what the long-term answer is going to be. But if we want to maintain a police department and have competent staff and not just be a training ground for people who want to get their foot in the door or applicants that can't find a job anywhere else, then, you know, we need to stay competitive with what's going on around us.
questions, comments from the board?
I support Dennis all the way in his working with the department the way he has, and I'm incredibly grateful to the chief and his group. We're fortunate.
Given the past history of some of the ongoings of the police department, it is certainly far improved over where it has been. The chief has done a great job. His guys really enjoy working for him, and we'd like to see that continue.
Pam?
So we haven't had any discussion about this at all, and I just saw the paperwork that's in the, documentation that's in the paperwork today. So I'm just asking, Dennis, you have a form here of a meeting that took place in February that is not signed. Is this something that you're looking to have the town adopt?
Yes, so this is a sidebar to the current contract.
Okay, so this is what you're looking for. So if we were going to be looking for a motion on this, you'd be looking for a motion to either accept or decline, or to authorize you or not authorize you to sign this agreement.
That is correct.
And at the end of the day, this would affect what rate of increase in the pay rates?
Yes, this is a $4 an hour increase for all the police officers.
Okay,
And
so if I may, could I make a motion?
Sure.
I'd like to make the motion that the board authorize the town manager to sign the sidebar agreement on Article 18 wages that took place on February 22nd to approve the $4 an hour wage increase for the police department. The document, February 2022.
Yeah, it's not a specific date. That was my
Yeah.
only.
Okay,
I second.
Okay, further discussion.
just
off my agenda.
thank you for the police department for everything they do, and I appreciate the way they put themselves out there.
Agreed, and I think, it's obviously a tough situation, but I don't think it's a good place for us to be at the bottom of the barrel. So. Any other questions or discussion before we vote? Okay. Calling for a vote. Pam,
Yes,
Dusty,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Kim.
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion passes 5-0. Thank you all for all you do for us. And thank you, Dennis, for helping put this together.
Yeah.
Pleasure.
All right, down to number 10, town managers report. Anything, we've gone through a lot of it. Anything you want to highlight or add, Dennis?
No, I just, if Dusty wants to make any comments about the meeting that we had with Senator Collins' office. I think it was encouraging. I'm not getting my hopes up. But at least there is some movement on this bill that's been languishing now for a while. Could be good for Wiscasset. I know we'd love to see that waste. People would love to see that waste out of here. It's just not going to go anywhere. So I think they should compensate us for that and compensate us handsomely for that. So Dusty, do you have anything any thoughts you want to?
Yeah, they seemed very excited that they had a meeting about the act. I tried to find similar enthusiasm on our side, but I guess it was reserved, maybe measured. I asked about a time frame about when we could see the next step take place, and they didn't really know. So it's just, they talked about the reality of the federal government at the moment. So we're just still waiting and fingers crossed.
Has there been any discussion with Senator King? I assume that he is co-authoring or co-sponsoring the bill? Or is Susan not sponsoring it, but just simply being?
I think Susan was a co-sponsor. So this was actually sponsored by Senator Duckworth. And Susan is a co-sponsor of this bill. Yes, they are talking with Governor King's office about this as well.
Ed?
If I may, what was the bill all about, please?
So this is the Stranded Act, Ed, that was introduced, was 2019, I believe, which deals with stranded nuclear waste and the communities that are stuck with it, and how the federal government hasn't lived up to its obligations to move it, and what can they do to compensate the cities and towns that are stuck with it. I won't say it, as I said in the thing, you know, there is some opposition to it. There's some opposition to the cost to it, but at least it got a hearing, and that's the furthest that it's been so far.
If I may.
Yeah.
I've always been concerned about that for a couple of reasons. One, Maine Yankee is still one of the largest taxpayer in the county, and that nuclear waste has a lot of value, and that's a part of their taxes. So part of that tells me we maybe ought to be careful how quickly we get rid of it. But the other part of the thing is periodically Maine Yankee sues the federal government for the cost of maintaining that facility. And unfortunately, the state legislature repeatedly has taken that money. So we probably ought to see it in reduced rates somehow, but the state government usually absconds with that funds and sends it off to somewhere else. So it's a lot of mixed emotions that go with it. Thank you.
So Ed, I don't think, Sarah, may I?
Yeah, sure.
It's still my manager's report. So I don't think in my lifetime or my grandkids' lifetime that nuclear waste is going anywhere. There's no place for it to go. And that's a multi-years long process for that to get there. And so I do, and I agree with you, there is a value there. There's that waste itself is a value because it can be reprocessed and used. And for the town is a value because it's now a storage facility that has a value to the federal government. So they need to pay us to do this. In addition to that, Maine Yankees tax agreement expires in 2023, and we're just getting involved in renegotiating that. And I, you know, hopefully the result of that will be that we see the value here and you need to pay a little bit more. So couple other things. I am meeting Friday with Ransom to go over the situation out at Mason Station with the ash ponds, to try to come to some resolution as to what we're going to do over the delays out there. And hopefully we'll have something to report back to you at your next meeting. We also have a pre-bid meeting tomorrow out at Old Ferry Road to go over the stream crossing, the culvert replacement out there. So I should have hopefully something on the next meeting for that as well.
Thank you. Thank you, Kim. Good luck with your other meeting.
Hi, Kim.
All right. Any questions for Dennis? All right. So moving down to other board business. So I guess, Dennis, if you want to help us on what you need for language to change the previous.
Yep, I would need a motion to rescind the vote of February 1st, 2020, approving the increase in the harbor fees.
Yeah.
I was not at the meeting where this vote took place, so I believe I need to abstain from any action taken on a previous decision.
Yeah, I think that's correct.
I move that we rescind the vote to increase harbor fees.
Second.
Thank you. Moved by Terry, seconded by Dusty. And just for those who are unaware, we're doing this because, correct me if I'm wrong, Dennis, we need to have a public hearing about that before those are decided. It's an outlier in fees.
That is correct. And I didn't look at the ordinance before I put it on the agenda. I apologize for embarrassing all of us.
No problem. All right.
It's the only ordinance like that. Is that correct, Dennis?
So our ordinances say that if you look under, specifically, there's a section in there for user fees. And if you look at that, it says, except and unless the ordinance itself spells out the user fee, like the building permit ordinance does, or the sign ordinance does, the select board has the authority to set fees. However, the harbor ordinance does have a specific clause in it that says you must have a 10-day hearing with 10-day notice before you do so. It's the only, well, it is the only ordinance that requires that, except for the wastewater. We do have to do the same thing if we're going to raise wastewater fees. So,
And we have approximately how many ordinances, Dennis?
Oh, my goodness, that's book is
lot.
465 pages long.
So maybe perhaps, this is not the sword you want to fall on, because I don't see that you could have possibly been responsible for knowing that one.
Well,
Maybe it's just a little bitty tiny stick pin. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions or discussion before we vote? All right, calling for a vote. Pam,
Abstain?
Dusty,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
I vote yes. Motion passes 3-0-1 with Kim absent. Any other board business?
oh, Kim had to leave. It was a good thing we actually had a short meeting tonight.
Yeah, didn't miss much.
The rest of them won't be so short. There's a lot of things a lot of irons in the fire that, especially now that I am done with budget, your budget books are ready. You may come in tomorrow and pick them up. The only thing that's not in them currently is the capital budget, but I will get that out to you within the next day or two. But there's plenty of other information in there for you to absorb in the meantime.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Dennis, for that hard work.
And I just want to mention, I when I went in to get my folder the other day, I saw the budget books in process, and I think you'll all find that they're much more helpful than any previous year in terms of having a lot of information, and Dennis has worked hard to put some actual charts, graphs, and narrative together. So I think you'll find it's a lot more helpful than what you've seen in the past.
So it's the first time I've tried it, so be easy on me, criticism. We'll work on getting them better for next year, but
All right, Bill.
Yes, a question to Dennis. The budget committee have budget books also to pick up?
yes.
I'll inform them. Thank you.
All right, if there's no other business, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Pam, seconded by Terry. Assuming there's no discussion, calling for a vote. Pam,
Yes.
Dusty,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
I vote yes. We are adjourned at 6:34 p.m. Thank you all and have a great evening.
Night.
Night, night.
I don't.